like to bring on Marc Morano to discuss. He's the founder of Climate Depot and author of The Great Reset. Marc, thanks so much for joining us. It's great to have you back.
Thank you, Allison. Happy to be here today.
Great. So, Marc, what's your take on what's going on here? Who's making these decisions? I mean, it's almost like there's some sort of plot against we the people. What do you make of all of this?
This whole idea of electrifying rural areas, $11 billion program. Now, first of all, you have to understand, back in the 1930s under Franklin Delano Roosevelt into the 40s, we had the Rural Electrification Act, which actually brought running water, electricity, infrastructure to rural America, and it went through the 1950s. I mean, this was a serious effort to bring a big boost to a way of life to rural people, to bring them into the modern age. And it's weird that they're calling this bill a Electrify Rural America, almost like an homage to the old bill. The problem is, this is literally a money laundering scheme for the green agenda. That's all this is. $11 billion to do more solar and wind, which isn't going to produce energy. At best, it's going to make a few makeshift government jobs that expire when the money for the solar and wind mandates. We've already been through this with Obama administration when Solandra was, booming business until it wasn't, when the money ran out. And so they're going to make their grids less reliable, more prone to blackouts. This is truly nuts. But they're going to be spending these billions of dollars, and it's going to go into all the hands of the right people. And what I mean by that are the bureaucrats, the well-connected donors, all the investors. That's the right people. As you mentioned, Allison, the people living in rural America aren't going to be benefiting. They're only going to be getting higher energy costs, less electricity, more prone to blackouts. And this is the green agenda literally in action.
Wow, pretty terrifying. I sure hope people wake up to this instead of going along touting this ridiculous narrative that we need to change everything to save the planet. I mean, it's such a corrupt system happening here, and I really am scared for what's going to happen in our near future. But anyway, speaking of the near future, the bug agenda, let's talk about it. It's being pushed by corporate media now. Let's take a look at some recent segments from this show here.
We all know how important insects are for the environment, but climate researchers say bugs could be a game changer in the fight to protect the planet in ways you may not have imagined. Tina Kraus has the story from London.
Adding some insects to the mix is customary in the kitchen in some parts of the world. Now climate experts think that protein-packed pests could offer a real solution to the global food crisis. Scientists in Germany are not pushing to get the critters on your plate. They see another benefit.
Our interest is to make insects as an alternative for the use of soybean-derived proteins.
Large-scale growth of soybeans has been blamed for extensive deforestation. Since farming insects takes less land and water, these researchers believe bugs could become the livestock feed of the future.
Do people actually buy this? What is going on here? How could anyone be on board with actually eating bugs?
I mean, the most shocking part of this whole story was when they said a solution to the global food crisis. Newsflash, there is no global food crisis that has anything to do with climate change, and there wasn't a global food crisis pre-COVID. Now we have the developing world that has problems getting foods because of government supply chain interruptions and all the crushing of economic liberty and growth. So what they're trying to do here is climate policy creates food shortages, which then they can say, well, here's a solution to the problem we created with our policy. You have to eat bugs, and it's a game changer of a problem. We've been farming for thousands of years, and if you think big agrochemical farming is a problem, that's one thing. A lot of people might think that, but what their solution is, if you look at what's happening in Europe, they're crushing small family-run generations of independent farmers in Europe to meet net zero climate goals. All the while telling us that we're going to have to eat the bugs. And that's what 60 Minutes is dutifully reporting here, is that bugs are inevitable. They're giving them as psyops to kids in elementary school in Australia, in Europe. They're giving them bugs so that they can go home and, quote, pester their parents. This is a real thing. They're pushing insect eating on us by manufacturing a food crisis through bad government policy.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.